most commonly used view commands in 2D, and the model we're going to use to demonstrate that will be a heatsink. And here we're showing you a 3D version of the heatsink in our Celsius program, but we'll be working with the 2D representation of that in the Kelvin program. So in 2D all we have is a cross section, which we're showing you here. The view commands are useful when you have to work on specific parts of a model, and two-dimensional models are easier to work on because everything is on one plane and no part hides another part. Basically, to work with a two-dimensional model, if you understand how to zoom, how to pan, and perhaps how to stretch your view and return to previous views, you pretty much are able to work with the program. I have pulled out the view toolbar and we'll show you some of those commands, but you can also use, in certain cases, the mouse and even the keyboard to adjust your view. So the easiest way, and let's say you want to zoom in on a specific part of the model, is just to move your cursor close to that part, and using the roller wheel on your mouse, just roll in and out. So that gives you very quick, rapid adjustment. Now, for more precise adjustments or to do a more radical change of your view, rather than doing a lot of rolling in and out with your wheel, we have what are called the window commands. And let's say that you have zoomed out to see the full model. The most common thing you're going to want to do is to zoom in on a specific part of the model. And the easiest way is to use what's called the zoom subwindow. If we activate the command, then in the message area in the command line it's asking you to locate or enter a lower left corner. So let's say we want to zoom in on one of these fins from the heatsink. Once we click, we then release the left mouse button and just pull until we have a window that is big enough to show that fin on the heatsink. Now, suppose we're finished working on this, we want to return to our previous view. We can just click on this one, the previous view. You'll notice in the tooltip it says page up as well. And you can in fact use your keyboard, you can either use the speed button, or if you hit the page up button on your computer keyboard, that will also return you to the previous views. So you can do this over a series. So let's do a series of zooming in. So we zoom in first here, and then we'll activate the zoom command again and zoom in here, and you can do it a third time and zoom in really fine. Now we can repeatedly hit the previous window page and back up through those previous views, up to 32 views. Now let's say that you have zoomed in on, say, one specific fin, and now you want to radically change your view. You could just hit page up until you get back to the original view, or you can use what we call a window all command. So if we activate a zoom window all, you'll notice it automatically first zooms out to the full model and shows you a window of where you are, and then you can change your view, create a new window, and zoom in there. We also have what are called dynamic commands. What the dynamic commands do is that they allow you to first create a window approximately of the size you want, and then you can position that window wherever you want to zoom in. And similarly, there's a zoom dynamic all, and this allows you once again to create a window of the size you want. It zooms out first so you can see the full model, and then you can zoom in on that specific model. Now once you've zoomed in, quite often you don't want to do a radical zoom out. Maybe you just want to shift your view a bit. You want to do a pan command. There is a button that you can activate for that. Or you can also just hold down the shift key on your computer keyboard and then the left mouse button, and that allows you to do a pan so you can see the next part, or move up or move down. So now I'm just going to zoom out again. There is a view to limit, but we can also use that or just hit the home key on your computer keyboard. So the final thing I want to show you today, sometimes you have a model which is very long and skinny or very wide, and it's very difficult to see sort of like the fine details. We have what we call stretch mode, and that allows you to expand in one dimension, one view. So for instance, I hit stretch mode, automatically this heatsink widened out. Suppose I wanted to have just one of these fins fill the whole screen. I could then activate a window command and then create a box And you can see that it's radically made the fin wider, particularly for people who are working in the high voltage area with long insulator strings which have thin layers of different materials. You'll find that this stretch mode command is very, very handy. So those are basically the most common commands you'll use working in the 2D program. And if you practice with them, you'll be able to quickly adjust your view. It'll make it a lot easier as you create your geometry, assign physical properties, and even as you're viewing contour plots of results. It's one of those things that using the program is much easier if you've mastered the view commands.